To the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Jerry Tope.
And I'm Kendra Cook. The Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news, and Dolores County Broadcasting Network provides the support for DCTV.
Here at the News at Noon show, we present news we hope you find interesting and report on local issues and events. Call us with your news tips or topics you'd like to see covered at 970-677-4119.
We appreciate you watching DCTV. Today's show is live Wednesday at noon and rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and re-aired on Saturday at noon, 3 and 6.
Coming up, more on the Mancos fire, another vehicle in the Dolores Trails in Cortez, and more.
Also in the news, damaging lightning and hail, BLM office to the western slope, along with the weather, sheriff's report, and the area happenings.
That and more is all coming up today, May 10th, 2017. And now here's the news.
Following up on the Cortez Journal report of the devastating fire in Mancos, it's reported that fire crews have contained the blaze that engulfed the Western Excelsior plant in Mancos on Monday afternoon. About 9:40 a.m. Tuesday, the Montezuma County Health Department reported that the fire had been contained, but the building would smolder for several days. Western Excelsior employees would be watching the situation, according to the Facebook page. Montezuma County Emergency Manager Paul Haller said fire crews contained the blaze in the early morning hours on Tuesday. Crews were beginning to turn the scene over to Western Excelsior personnel as of 10 a.m. The cause of the fire was still under investigation. In the next few days, fire crews and plant personnel will continue to monitor the scene to make sure that nothing reignites. There are still some fuels in the building. He did not offer an estimate on the cost of the damage and said insurance investigators would be visiting the site in the coming days. The production room, warehouse, and offices at the mill sustained the heaviest damage. Mancos Fire Chief Tony Aspromonte said, "Thankfully, there was no damage to the wood piles on the plant site or the trailer court across the street." The fire started just before 1 p.m. Monday at the plant 901 West Grand Avenue. Western Excelsior workers were evacuated safely. Fire officials at the scene said no injuries were reported. The Red Cross is providing cleaning kits for people whose homes were affected by smoke. Those are available at Mancos Town Hall, 117 North Main Street. The agency provided hotel vouchers that sent 5 displaced families to area hotels, Mancos Town Clerk Heather Alvarez said. The Red Cross also is providing respirators and water, according to Mancos Town officials. Several area businesses already had offered to help the company with arrangements such as unemployment moving forward. Holler applauded the efforts of all involved.
Reported in the Cortez Journal, a strong thunderstorm hit the Four Corners area on Tuesday, producing lightning that struck a house in central Cortez. The lightning ignited a house fire at 502 South Madison around 7 a.m., but firefighters quickly extinguished the blaze. The fire spread into the attic at the house. Fire Chief Jeff Vandervoort said a man and woman evacuated the house safely along with their child. The department sent an engine and a ladder truck and 8 firefighters. He said they cleared the scene by about 8:30 a.m. A lightning strike may have hit a tree in front of the home, but the tree did not damage the house. The department also received a call about a lightning striking on a tree on Road 21 during the morning. Vandervoort said that the Lewis Areola Fire District also responded, and several storm-related damage calls were taken. There were no reports of flooding in the area. Heavy rain and hail began falling in the Cortez area about 6:30 a.m. Monday. Cortez meteorologist Jim Andrus said about 0.47 inches of rain had fallen by 9:45 a.m., half the average monthly rainfall for the area. The hail he measured ranged from pea to marble size, he said, which was not big enough to do any damage. As of 9:45 a.m., no flood warnings had been issued by the National Weather Service. The National Weather Service issued an advisory Tuesday morning for a strong thunderstorm for western Montezuma and eastern San Juan counties. Doppler radar tracked a strong thunderstorm 14 miles north of Shiprock, moving northwest at 40 miles an hour. Frequent cloud-to-ground lightning, nickel-sized hail, and winds in excess of 40 were expected in areas including Aneth, Holden Wheaton National Monument, and Toyoak. The Weather Service for Montezuma County called for continued thunderstorms through Wednesday with high temperatures of 55 to 60 degrees and overnight lows around 38. Sunny skies are expected Thursday through Sunday with highs in the lower 70s. We'll get more on that in my weather segment coming up later in the program.
The Cortez Journal reported that the Colorado State Patrol is investigating how a woman's vehicle ended up in the middle of the Dolores River on Tuesday, about 20 miles northeast of Dolores. The driver, Kiffany Smith, 29 of Dolores, said she jumped out of the vehicle before it left the road, but her injuries aren't consistent with that description, said Captain Adrian Driscoll with the Colorado State Patrol in Durango. Troopers believe she was traveling south toward Dolores at the time of the crash. She's got minor to no injuries, but the vehicle is like 50 feet off into the river, Driscoll said. Not sure how exactly it got there, so we're investigating that. The vehicle is a Subaru Forester or Jeep Liberty. It was so deep in the river that law enforcement couldn't read the license plates, he said. It's almost totally submerged in the river, Driscoll said. It's going to be in the river overnight. It looks like a pretty extensive recovery.
From the Durango Herald, like many departments and agencies within the executive branch, Bureau of Land Management has its headquarters in Washington, but Colorado Senator Cory Gardner, Republican, and Congressman Scott Tipton, another Republican from Cortez, want to change that. Gardner introduced a bill in the U.S. Senate to instruct Interior Secretary Ryan Zink to develop a plan to move the headquarters of the BLM to a western state. Tipton has introduced the companion bill in the U.S. House of Representatives. One of the consistent concerns I hear from constituents is they feel like sometimes Washington doesn't listen to them. They feel like they have a great relationship with their local BLM office, but something happens on the way to Washington that changes that process, Gardner said. The BLM, part of the Department of the Interior, manages about 250 million acres of land, more than 99% of which is west of the Mississippi River. About 9,000 BLM employees work throughout the United States and another nearly 600 in its headquarters in Washington. According to the estimates, about 400 employees in the BLM headquarters would be considered for a move. Some positions would remain in Washington. The idea is simply to break up the Washington mentality, to bring the leadership to where the land is, Gardner said. This is putting the management and the decision makers in the same places as those affected by the decisions. Both Gardner and Tipton have expressed support for the headquarters to move to Grand Junction, but the bill does not specify a potential location for new headquarters. Gardner said it makes sense to have it in the western slope of Colorado based on its proximity to the interstate, air access, and nearby states with high concentrations of BLM land. If Grand Junction is chosen to host the new headquarters, it would be a potential economic driver for the city and Colorado. The bill does specify that a new headquarters be located in Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, New Mexico, Oregon, Utah, Washington, or Wyoming. A lot of choices there. If the bill passes, there would be an open process to choose a site. The bill has received support from Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper, Denver Mayor Michael Hancock, and the Hinsdale County Commissioners, Grand Junction Commissioners, Montezuma County Commissioners, the Colorado Farm Bureau and Club 20, and Western Colorado Bipartisan Coalition.
More land issues reported by the Cortez Journal. U.S. Interior Secretary Ryan Zink said sacred tribal lands he toured Monday in America's newest and most hotly contested monument should be preserved, but he questioned whether the monument designation was the right way to do it. Zink's aerial and ground tour of the Bears Ears National Monument was part of a review ordered by President Donald Trump to determine if 27 monuments were properly established. Zink spent the day getting familiar with the 1.3 million acre swath of southern Utah with red rock plateaus, cliffs, and canyons on land considered sacred to the tribes. His tour guide was Utah Governor Gary Herbert, one of several prominent Republican leaders in the state who opposes the Bears Ears National Monument. Zink, a Montana Republican, said he wants to make sure Native American culture is preserved, but cautioned that not all tribal members share the same opinion about the monument, designated by former President Barack Obama near the end of his term. He spoke before taking a short, winding hike in the afternoon sun with Herbert and other state and local officials to a lookout post above ancient ruins. Of course, the legacy and what I've seen should be preserved, Zink said. The issue is whether the monument is the right vehicle. Herbert, U.S. Senator Orrin Hatch, and the rest of the congressional delegation considered the monument creation by former President Barack Obama an unnecessary layer of federal control that will hurt local economies by closing the area to new energy development. They also say it isn't the best way to protect the land. In Blanding, with a population of 3,400 people, 2 large banners read #RescindBearsEars, reflecting the popular sentiment among residents. Bears Ears supporters made their voices heard too. They believe the monument adds vital protections to tribal lands, where members perform ceremonies, collect herbs and wood for medicinal and spiritual purposes, and do healing rituals. The monument review is rooted in the belief of Trump and other critics that a law signed by President Theodore Roosevelt allowing presidents to declare monuments has been improperly used to protect wide expanses of lands instead of places with particular historical or archaeological value. Zink insisted there is no predetermined outcome of his review, saying he may not recommend the monuments be made smaller or rescinded, and he might even recommend an addition. The two monuments he's reviewing in Utah are quite large. Created in 1996, Grand Staircase Escalante is 1.9 million acres, about the size of Delaware, and Bears Ears is a smaller location at 1.3 million acres. Zink has been tasked with making a recommendation on the Bears Ears monument by June 10th, about 2.5 months before a final report about all of the monuments. He said his upcoming decision is not just about how the local tribes, county officials, or the governor feel about the monument, but it's also about how the entire country feels about it, because it's America's public land. And now, let's take a look at our American weather.
The National Weather Service Grand Junction early morning report says that this afternoon, eastern Utah and western Colorado are in a good position for more showers and thunderstorms. Wind speeds will increase as the afternoon progresses to 10 to 15 miles per hour, dropping to 5 to 10 for the night. Snow levels in the mountains today will be common in the 9 to 10,000 foot range. Small hail is possible also. We've had a report that there was ping pong ball sized hail in Dove Creek late last evening, enough to make a layer of the stuff. And yes, that's bigger than the dime size expected. There is a possibility of more hail as this system drags its backside leisurely through. Exit time is estimated to be sometime in the wee hours of Thursday. Thursday and on through Saturday are to be sunny, and Saturday afternoon is likely to be windy. An inbound Pacific trough is expected to cause southwesterly flow tomorrow, and the high that will develop tomorrow will start to get pushed on by Sunday. However, at this point, any moisture drawn this way for Sunday or Monday is not likely to be noticed. The main body of the low that is still giving us some activity today is still in the western and north central plains today. Severe thunderstorms are likely in that yellowed area, arcing from just east of the Big Bend area of Texas through western Oklahoma, southeast Colorado, most of Kansas, northern Missouri, southern Iowa, and northern Illinois. The red area overlapping the yellow in the northwest from the southeast corner of Colorado and northern Kansas and Missouri is prime for flash flooding conditions today as well. This system will weaken some and spread, but is expected to last 2 more days for that region of the country. Gulf moisture will also play into an already very wet picture. By the end of the week, that moisture will be over the Great Lakes and Northeast states. The Northwest coast is seeing the leading edge of their latest system. I admit all those stories about the sun seldom shining in Seattle and a permanent umbrella grip shape to the hands of residents in that area just might be more than a rumor. Low temperatures for the next 5 days are all in the 40s, and highs will take a jump up tomorrow, staying in the 70s through Sunday and possibly dropping off a couple of degrees for Monday. Windy Saturday afternoon, but starting tomorrow, sunny for a while, so pretty good stuff there. Now back to the news.
The Cortez Journal reported that organizers of a spiritual festival have withdrawn their initial Mancos application and are looking for a new location for the festival. The Rhythm and Soul Festival had been planned for a location southwest of Mancos on Road G, but some neighbors of the proposed site were unhappy with the proposal, said festival organizer Fred Boschart. In order to make peace, we decided not to go through with it, Boschart said. Organizers withdrew their application for a perpetual high-impact permit for the Road G location on Wednesday, May 3rd, according to Montezuma County Planning Director Leanne Milligan. The County Planning and Zoning Board had previously recommended approval for the application at their April 13th meeting. The event is being put on by Agape Durango and is still planned for September 29th to October 1st. He is looking at several other possible locations for the festival, including Cottonwood Park in Mancos. Agape Durango's festival website promises a weekend of music, keynote speakers, and other events, including yoga, each morning. Boschart said he expects 800 to 1,000 people to attend. Rhythm and Soul was created to offer a series of life-changing experiences of simultaneous frequency activations, personal realizations, and festive celebration, the website reads. Agape Durango was founded in 1996 by teacher and author Michael Bernard Beckwith. According to the site, the group puts on workshops, concerts, sacred services, and other events. The festival lists several music performers on the schedule, including Mancus's band, the Afrobeatniks, and Telluride band Niceness. To follow this story, visit their website at www.agapedurango.org.
Science news of any kind can be a challenge to read and understand, and the ramifications of any new discovery can take time. This produces a problem for journalists or reporters and other speculators. The problem is, what sort of a headline do you choose? Some headlines are chosen to get your interest and attention, some to influence your opinion, some to touch your emotions or politics. Reality suggests that if a title or headline is not an eye-catcher, no one will read or care. The rules are pretty much the same for that first paragraph, and some periodic boredom-avoiding, exciting interjections prior to that stunning ending. However, reality also has its needs, and one is for truth. An article in Science by the American Association for the Advancement of Science online for May 8 entitled, "Are Methane Seeps in the Arctic Slowing Global Warming?" starts with good news about climate change is rare in the Arctic, but now comes news that increases in one greenhouse gas, methane, lead to the dramatic decline of another. If you stop there, you'd get a premature and unwise conclusion. Any one of basically 9 paragraphs taken out of context could lead one astray. Caveats usually come later in most articles. Most people want you to have a conclusion that suits their individual purposes. However, in the new field of methane gas studies, some hope seems in order. Biochemist John Pullman of the USGS in Woods Hole, Massachusetts, set out to measure the gas close to the ocean surface above known methane seeps near Svalbard during the Arctic summer. He and his team were constantly surprised by how little methane they found. But the bigger surprise was that surface water CO2 levels dropped whenever their ship crossed a seep. The CO2 data became the most important part of the story. Sudden drops in water temperature, along with increases in dissolved oxygen and pH at the surface. The lower CO2 levels were telltale signs of bottom water upwelling and photosynthesis. His team concluded that the same physical forces that are pushing up the methane bubbles are pumping nutrient-rich cold waters from the seabed to the surface, fertilizing phytoplankton blooms that soak up CO2. The study found that in such zones, nearly 1,900 times more CO2 is being absorbed than methane emitted. That's a small but real consolation for those concerned about global warming. Maybe we should plant more phytoplankton over all these methane blooms. Just asking. In these limited zones, the atmospheric benefit from CO2 sequestration is about 230 times greater than the warming effect from the methane emissions. Here are the caveats. Whether the findings apply to ocean seeps in other parts of the world is still a big question. Some methane seeps occur because the hydrates there are barely stable and can be upset by slight changes in temperature and pressure. One can't count on the methane fertilizing effect being the same everywhere. Even in his study area, it's apt to change with seasons. His team's data were collected in constant sunlight of Arctic summer. During the dark polar night, photosynthesis would drop to nearly nothing, and methane emissions would not be offset by declining CO2. I say let the research go on, and hold on to your horses until you know that road you are on will support letting them run. Meanwhile, let them just keep on at a working pace.
From the Cortez Journal, a third entrance to the Gear Natural Area in Cortez was opened on Saturday by a team of volunteers several months after it was first proposed by property owner Keith Evans. This is the second year the Montezuma Land Conservancy has held a trail maintenance party to repair existing trails or clear new ones. This year, several dozen volunteers showed up to create the new entrance, which will be accessible from North Mildred Road near Southwest Memorial Hospital. Evans, along with the Land Conservancy, has planned to open the entrance since 2016, when he was granted a conservation easement on 50 acres of property adjoining the park, including the new access. Entrances to the park are already available from Lebanon Road and County Road L. The new one will tie into the existing network of trails. Although there is no new parking lot for the Mildred Road entrance, it's located near the parking lot for the hospital. Most of the access point and about a quarter-mile of trail were cleared Saturday, and Evans said he would add a gate within the next few days. Volunteers also rerouted one of the existing trails to widen it and avoid an area with severe erosion. Evans said he also hoped to add tie-in trails to the new entrance directly from the hospital and nearby nursing home. If there's residents there, they have assisted care, then they want to go for a walk, or employees from the hospital and they want to go for a walk on their break, it's all right there, he said. Earlier on Saturday, about 15 people had run through Gear Natural Area in the 5-mile final race of the Gear Park Trail Series. Proceeds from the race's entrance fees goes to the Land Conservancy to pay for maintenance on the trails. Leibowitz said the Land Conservancy raised about $500 from the series last year, and he said most of that went toward caring for Gear. The next big race the Land Conservancy plans to organize is the Very Scary Time Trial, a cycling event held in Gear Park every Halloween. Leibowitz said he hoped the maintenance performed on Saturday would help prepare the way for that race. In addition to members of the Land Conservancy, several members of the Southwest Colorado Cycling Association, the Cortez Parks and Recreation Department, and other interested citizens helped clear the trail. The SWCCA provided the tools, and the City of Cortez provided food for the volunteers after they finished the job.
And now the Sheriff's Roundup for the week of May 1st through the 7th. A backpack filled with clothing and other items was found in Montezuma County and turned into our Sheriff's Office. If anyone is missing a backpack, contact the Sheriff's Office to identify your property. Montezuma County was also notified in the event anyone reports it missing in their county. Officers are investigating a report of a resident selling and supplying drugs to other members of the community. Received several complaints from local residents of telephone scams and responded to a report of a domestic dispute at a local residence. Officers diffused that situation. That's it for today's Roundup. Tune in next week for the continuing updates.
And here's today's High Country happenings. May 16th from 11:20 to 1:30 p.m. there will be an interactive session of physical aspects of caregiving, Caregiver Forum Lunch and Learn. There will be a free lunch at the Cortez Senior Center on 107 North Chestnut Street. This is provided by the Southwest Memorial Hospital Rehab Department and John Senhan Strong Women, Strong Bones program. There will be a door prize drawing for people who are registered. Call them at 564-2772 or 562-4626. And don't forget to mark down the powerful tools for caregivers here in Dolores County. Wednesdays from May 17th through to June 21st at the Methodist Church on 601 North College from 5:30 to 8 p.m. These are free classes to help family caregivers take care of themselves while caring for a relative or friend. To sign up, call 562-4626. And it's time once again for the Sunshine Express Miramonte Mother's Day Fishing Derby at Miramonte Lake on Sunday, May 14th, with $500 in cash and more prizes up for grab. Miramonte Lake, located in the Dan Noble State Wildlife Area, is approximately 20 minutes south of Norwood, Colorado, and will be the place to be for Mother's Day. Fishermen and women from all over the Western Slope, as well as neighboring states, show up every year to have a shot at catching the longest trout and the $500 top prize, and are invited once again to test their luck or skills between 6 a.m. and 3 p.m. Entry into the Derby is only $10 a person for any age. Entry forms will be available at the lake the day of the Derby and also can be found online along with directions, map, conditions, tips, and more at sunshineexpressmedia.com. Or for more information, call them at 970-864-2142. And if you missed any of those details, don't worry, all of the happenings are listed on the DCTV Facebook page. Check it out. And if you have news or event information you'd like us to share, send us an email, dcbnnews@gmail.com, or call us at 677-4119.
Thanks for tuning in. A reminder that this program is aired live at noon Monday through Wednesday and rebroadcast at 3 and 6, and again aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order.
And please check us out on Facebook, DCTV News at Noon. Like us there, join the local conversation, and share it with a friend.
For Kendra Cook and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program, out of Dove Creek, I'm Jerry Tope. Thanks for watching.